The private dining room of the Manhattan luxury hotel glowed with polished power. White linen stretched across a table, so long it could have doubled as a runway. Crystal glasses shimmered under the candlelight, reflecting bottles of Bordeaux worth more than the average person's monthly rent. This wasn't dinner. It was theater, staged to finalize a $500 million deal. At the far end of the table sat Ayako Mori, a logistics magnate from Tokyo. She was 55, small in stature, her silver hair twisted into an elegant chignon. A modern black kimono-inspired dress framed her figure, its simplicity only heightening her quiet dignity. Despite her empire spanning 3 continents, her presence here seemed diminished, not because of who she was, but because of how she was being treated. Her translator, a middle-aged Japanese-American named Mr. Tanaka, hovered beside her, his unease growing with every toast. The Americans at the head of the table had been drinking steadily, their voices louder, their laughter sharper, their arrogance more unrestrained. What's the point of inviting her? Richard Vance, hedge fund titan and self-anointed emperor of the evening, announced while cutting his steak with theatrical precision, "She doesn't even speak English. It's like talking to a wall." Laughter erupted around him. At his side, Candace Holt smirked, raising her glass in mock sympathy. She was a sharp-featured woman in her mid-40s, a predator who had clawed her way through the investment world and now relished mocking anyone beneath her. "Maybe silence is her strategy," Candace added, her voice dripping with derision. "Or maybe she just doesn't have anything valuable to say." Tanaka translated cautiously, trimming their contempt into something merely blunt. But Chloe Summers, the 26-year-old waitress silently refilling water glasses, heard every unfiltered word. Chloe had been told by her manager before service began, "Be invisible." VIP clients didn't want to remember waitstaff existed. She had perfected the art. Hair in a neat bun, black uniform crisp, her movements quiet as smoke. But as she slipped around the table, listening to the steady drip of mockery aimed at Ayako, Chloe's stomach tightened. Ayako sat composed, bowing her head slightly when translated remarks reached her, betraying no outward reaction. Yet Chloe saw what others missed. A brief flash of pain tightening the Japanese woman's eyes, the faintest tremor in hands folded in her lap. The insults escalated. Richard raised his glass again. "Business requires clarity. If you can't express yourself properly, how can we trust your judgment?" This time, Tanaka softened it so heavily that it became nearly harmless. But Chloe, pouring Bordeaux into Richard's glass, overheard Candace whisper, "She'll sign anything we put in front of her. She won't even understand. We'll walk away with controlling interest before dessert." The chill that ran through Chloe's spine nearly made her spill the wine. She dared a glance at Ayako across the table. In that instant, their eyes met. Chloe saw not weakness, but sharp intelligence caged by cultural dismissal. Ayako was not confused. She was being deliberately underestimated. Richard, now drunk on both wine and dominance, tapped his knife against his glass to draw every eye. "You know what's wrong with international business?" he boomed. "Too much accommodation for people who haven't caught up with the modern world. English is the language of commerce. If you don't speak it, you don't belong here." Candace's laugh rang like breaking glass. "Exactly. It slows everyone down." Guests shifted uncomfortably, but remained silent. No one wanted to risk their careers by challenging the wolves at the head of the table. Then came the contract. Richard pulled a thick document from his briefcase, spreading it across the linen like a conquering general unrolling a map. "Let's cut to the chase. One signature, and we all leave happy." The contract slid toward Ayako, though Richard didn't bother addressing her directly. Chloe, refilling water nearby, caught a glimpse of its dense legal text. Her heart dropped. The clauses weren't about partnership. They were a takeover. Richard and Candace would seize operational control. Ayako, the founder of Logistics Empire, would be reduced to an advisory figurehead. Candace leaned in with feigned kindness. "I'm sure a woman of her caliber can recognize a good deal. Sometimes too much analysis just complicates things." She nudged the pen toward Ayako like bait before prey. Silence wrapped the room. All eyes waited for Ayako to sign away her legacy. Chloe's pulse thundered. She thought about her manager's hiss warning. Stay invisible. These people are worth more than you'll ever make. She thought about her job, her rent, the danger of interfering. But then she looked at Ayako's face. Dignified, trusting, unaware of the trap. Chloe set down her pitcher. Slowly, deliberately, she crossed the room, stopped beside Ayako, and bowed deeply in a traditional Japanese manner. Gasps rippled through the table. When she straightened, she spoke. In fluent Japanese, her voice clear and steady. Mori-sama, Chloe said, they are hiding the truth. This contract is a deception. They believe you cannot understand what you are about to lose. The room froze. Richard's face purpled. What the hell did she just say? Candace shot up, slamming her glass down. How dare you interfere? But Ayako wasn't looking at them anymore. For the first time that night, her eyes were fixed on Chloe, glistening with recognition and relief. Arigato, she whispered softly in Japanese. Thank you. Finally, someone sees me as I am. The mask of silence shattered. The silence following Chloe's words weighed like stone. Even the clink of silverware had stopped. All around the long table, executives, lawyers, and analysts stared in stunned disbelief. Richard Vance's chair screeched back. His hand slapped the table hard enough to rattle glasses. Who do you think you are? He thundered, veins bulging in his neck. You're a waitress. Your job is to pour water, not to run your mouth in gibberish at my dinner table. Candace Holt leaned forward like a striking cobra, her lipstick gleaming cruelly. You've ruined this meeting. Do you have any idea the consequences of sticking your nose where it doesn't belong? You'll never work in Manhattan again. Chloe's knees wobbled, but she didn't step back. The fear was real, but something deeper held her steady. She turned toward Ayako, meeting her gaze. They believe you cannot fight because of language, but you hold more power than they will ever admit. Mr. Tanaka, the translator, looked pale, caught between duty and truth. But Ayako raised one graceful hand, silencing him. Slowly, she rose from her chair. The room seemed to shrink around her. When she spoke, her voice carried across the table in perfect, deliberate English. I understand everything. Shock detonated like a thunderclap. Richard's jaw fell open. Candace's mocking smile collapsed. Even Chloe blinked in astonishment. Ayako's lips curved into the faintest smile. For years, I have chosen silence. In silence, people reveal themselves. Tonight, you revealed your greed, your arrogance, and your disrespect. Her words, each one sharp as glass, cut through the air. You believe my language limited me. In truth, it was your character that betrayed you. The executives shifted uncomfortably, caught between the wolves and their prey who no longer looked like prey. Richard tried to recover, forcing out a laugh. So you speak English. Fine. Then you know this is the best offer you'll ever get. If you walk away... Ayako's eyes flashed. No, you will walk away. She picked up the contract with delicate fingers, held it in front of her, and then tore it clean down the middle. The rip echoed in the hushed room, louder than Richard's protests, sharper than Candace's hiss of outrage. Fragments of paper floated to the carpet like defeated flags. You insulted not only me, but the trust required for any partnership, Ayako declared. There will be no deal tonight, or ever. My company does not bow to wolves dressed as businessmen. Her calm finality left no room for argument. Chloe stood frozen, breath caught in her chest. She had expected gratitude, perhaps a nod of acknowledgement. She had not expected to witness a woman reclaim her throne so completely. Ayako turned to Chloe. Before hundreds of astonished eyes, the magnate gave a deep, formal bow, one of respect, not courtesy. You risked everything for truth. For that, I owe you more than thanks. The room erupted, not in applause, but in chaos. Some executives scrambled to salvage their reputations, distancing themselves from Richard and Candace. Others whispered frantically into phones. Richard himself stormed toward the door, red-faced, vowing revenge. Candace followed, her heels striking the marble like angry gavel blows. Through it all, Chloe stood stunned, her heart pounding, until Ayako's hand gently touched hers. Come, Ayako said softly. Walk with me." They left the dining hall together, the once invisible waitress now walking beside a titan of industry. In the quiet of the corridor outside, Ayako stopped. The mask of steel softened and her eyes warmed. "You speak Japanese beautifully. Where did you learn?" Chloe swallowed hard, still shaken. "My mother was Japanese. She taught me when I was a child. She passed when I was 13, but I kept studying. It was my way of keeping her close." Ayako's expression gentled further. "Then tonight, her spirit walked with you, and because of her gift, you gave me back my voice." Chloe blinked back tears. "I thought I'd just ruined my life. I'll probably be fired." Ayako's laughter, light and melodic, interrupted her. "Fired? No, my dear. You'll be hired." Chloe stared. "What?" "You have courage, intelligence, and integrity. Qualities rarer than wealth. I did not waste such things." Ayako's voice grew firm, decisive. "From this moment, you will not serve tables. You will serve as my aide. Travel with me. Translate when needed, and speak truth when others dare not." The world seemed to tilt beneath Chloe's feet. I don't know if I'm qualified." Ayako raised an eyebrow. "You stood against wolves when no one else would. That is qualification enough." Chloe felt her throat tighten. For the first time in years, she glimpsed a path beyond endless shifts, beyond invisibility, beyond scraping by. A door had opened, and she had stepped through by sheer courage. Ayako squeezed her hand gently. "You saved me tonight. Now allow me to change your life in return." And with that, the two women walked on, leaving behind a room of broken contracts and shattered arrogance. In the end, it wasn't silence that carried the night, but the voice of one invisible waitress who dared to speak, and the magnate who revealed she had understood all along.